Join Melody and I as she takes me through 3 tools that can help you move to Azure this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed MVP Edition. Today, I'm joined by Melody. Melody, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's kick it off by telling us a little bit about what you do.
Thanks, Anna. I'm a Microsoft Solutions Manager for Pure Storage. So that means I have the privilege of helping our customers determine different solutions for them with the Microsoft stack. So helping them find what's best, mostly on the data platform for their stack, and basically helping them architect things that will help them. It's really quite the privilege.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's great to have you on the show, and I think you're a good person to talk to when it comes to moving things to Azure, because I'm sure you've done it with many customers and seen a lot of the great tools out there. And so today we're going to be talking about 3 tools to help you move to Azure. I'm really excited about this. I know you have a lot of demos planned, so I'll just pass it right over to you, Melody.
Thanks, Anna. It's pretty exciting. There's a number of tools that people just don't seem to realize that are available to them when it comes to moving to Azure. So I like to explain quite a few of them. So this is going to be pretty demo heavy. So let's get started. So Anna, we're going to start in Visual Studio Code. So we have a new add-in for Visual Studio Code that helps us analyze the code that is not necessarily within your SQL Server. When we're moving to Azure, we know about doing it with our database. But here we're going to actually analyze the code that is outside of our database. So we go to our Analyze workspace, choose SQL Server. This also works for Oracle and others. It's very quick. We analyze this, we save it as a JSON file. And once we save this, we can take this to our data migration analyst and analyze that along with our actual database. So we can analyze both our application and our database together. This is a new feature that came out not too long ago. A lot of people don't realize this. And it's very handy because it's not just our databases sometimes that need to change as we migrate, but the code that we have that goes along with it. So this may be common to some people that they're familiar with how to do this within the data migration assistant. But here I'm going to show you as we connect to our server and get to the point where we're going to analyze our database, but we're going to take a look at the database and add in this file that we had saved as a JSON file that will allow us to actually connect and look at the data that was saved from analyzing our actual code. This will, along with the database, look for any compatibility issues within our code as well. So you'll see here, it'll bring up any changes that actually happened within the code of the database or within the code of our application. So we get to see both. Very handy tool, because I often was in my consulting saw that even though people would have databases that would convert over very nicely, they would have issues with the applications. So then when you want to go and migrate this, sometimes there would be challenges with that. So I'm going to take you through a new feature within Azure Data Studio Migration. So you see here with our databases, I don't have a database in my Azure Migration Server, which is in Azure. And we're going to take a local database when we look at managing it, we have the option with this plugin for Azure SQL migration to migrate to Azure a SQL database. And we're going to do that today with this database that we had just analyzed. So once we've cleaned up all the analysis for it, we can do within Azure Data Studio another assessment. But there's a couple of additional features that have been added to Azure Data Studio to improve our process and make it a little bit easier. There's all sorts of different options that we can migrate to. And one of my favorite new features here is this recommendation for determining how, which option for a VM to migrate to. I love this option because I often have customers asking me, how do I translate my on-prem hardware to a VM? So what this does is, you can see here on the bottom, it's starting performance data collection, and it actually looks at what your performance is on your server, and it will determine what type of VM that you might need. So you can see the assessment results, and it will tell you what options it would recommend based on the workload and how you use your server. And you can set a couple of new parameters as well. Then once you've chosen your version that you would like to go to, you can continue on then with your migration. You choose your database that you would like to migrate. And one of the nice things about this Azure SQL Target is I've done this before in my testing. It fills in a lot of the functions for me. This migration I'm going to do as an offline migration because I've tested it a number of times. I don't need to keep it up in sync at the moment. And once I choose the resource group, it will automatically choose items that are that go along with it for items that I've used before, and it automatically finds those and fills them in for me. It gives me the option to determine the migration fields. I can review them. I can go back and change them if needed, and then I can start the migration. Here in the middle, you see that it is stop the performance collection, and then it actually starts the full migration. You see a status window in the middle that can be refreshed so you can keep an eye on it. It tells you what's in progress, what's been completed. It allows you to refresh it to check what's happening, to see how long it's going to take. And now that the migration is completed, we see that my AdventureWorks table has been moved to Azure. My employee database, my department database is moved over, and I can do a query from it. It's there and available immediately. And all of my data is ready to go.
Cool, nice. Thanks, Melody. That was really neat. I actually learned a couple things. One of the things I learned is that I did not know that you can use DMA to also look at your application code and assess it. Quick question there. Do you know, what is it looking for when it does that?
It's looking for things that are deprecated, code that might be deprecated. It also will tell you, as it does for databases, new features or functionality that you could potentially take advantage of in a new release. And I really like that about it.
Awesome, cool. I'll have to play around with that one a little bit more to see what types of recommendations or things it's able to do. I also find interesting, the Azure SQL migration extension, we've been seeing it a lot, but I hadn't seen the auto-filling, which I definitely feel like makes life a lot easier to not have to go find everything and go to the Azure portal and all that sort of stuff. As we think about wrapping up, this episode, Melody. I want to know from your perspective for folks who are just getting started in this space, do you have any other tips and tricks or advice for them?
Take advantage of all of the tools that you can. The tools are there to help you, and they really do make things easier, particularly the Azure Data Studio tool, because it combines a lot of the tools together into one. So that last bit where I did the demo, that one in particular, it combines a lot of the tools together when you're actually doing that migration, and so much of it is automated for you that it just really does make it a lot easier. You don't have to know as much Azure as you really needed to know 5 years ago. It sure makes a big difference.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Melody, so much for coming on the show and showing us these 3 tools. To our viewers, if you like this episode, go ahead, give it a like, leave us a comment, and let us know what you think about some of these tips and tricks that Melody has shown us. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.